I'm going to just start it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. How you doing, everybody, and welcome to the BARBERTIME Media Network. This is our brand new program called Under the Cape, where we take those conversations that we have with our clients and we turn it into real life. And this week, one of the conversations we always have, especially in the urban community, is blood pressure and health. And today we brought in a good new recent friend of mine from the neighborhood, Mr. Dr. Robert Taylor. How you doing, Dr.?
I'm great, thank you.
So, how long you been in the neighborhood?
Well, I'll tell you, I've been working in Mattapan since about, I don't know the year. I know it was 11 years ago that I started working here. I've been a doctor now for about 40 years, and I've always worked in a neighborhood health center at one time or another. I started out actually in a Charles Drew neighborhood health center. It was right down the block here near Franklin Park.
Okay, yes.
And I worked at Martha Elliott Health Center and a couple of other ones, and then I wound up this one.
And you end up in this one here. And so where are you practicing now?
Now I have a practice in Brookline. I've had that all along. A small practice. I deal with general medicine and a lot of work with STDs.
Okay, yes.
I've done a lot of public health work. I've done a lot of teaching. I've taught classes in STD and AIDS prevention in probably every high school and half of the middle schools in Boston.
Yeah, no, those are some of the things we dealt with the Department of Public Health when we had before. But speaking of the high schools and some of the other kids' youth organizations, that's like our board. We've talked a lot about like what are the things we're going to be able to bring to that demographic. And so when it comes to some of that, we'd like to reach out to you, of course, and find out where and how we can fit some things in. Well, before we get into the meat and potatoes of why we really brought him in, there's another side to the doc that we want you guys to know about. He's the Rock Doc. So tell them a little bit of how you became the Rock Doc and why we brought some material. A list of a lot of celebrities that the doc has had to help and even just have good conversations with. Can you tell me a little bit?
Sure, I've been doing it now for about 30 years. Being the Rock Doc in Boston means that I work with a promoter in Boston. His name is Don Law. He has Tea Party concerts, and he sort of runs the Boston Garden and House of Blues and Paradise, a bunch of other places. He'll be the promoter who brings in the groups. If a group is going to be in Boston Garden, Michael Jackson when he was alive, or his sister, their people would call him and he would make all the arrangements.
He said his sister, Janet, is one of them.
Yeah, now one of them gets sick, like maybe she had a little sore throat. I don't remember what it was. People always ask me why did I see them, and I wouldn't tell them anyway. If it's a sore throat, it's a big deal. If you're a singer and you have a sore throat and you're not going to go on, they get me to come in.
That's their money machine.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I've been doing it now for a long time. I've taken care of numerous people.
Yeah, and again, Grateful Dead is on here. Adams, who's that recent one? I don't know.
PNB Rock.
PNB Rock.
He's from Philadelphia.
Yeah, Philly boy. We got a few Philly people in the house. How y'all doing, my man? Kanye and Fox. How you doing, bro? But Rock, now let's get back serious. I had to get that out there. But me personally, I love the story behind that, and we're gonna try and prod them to get us backstage at a couple of things anyway. So, but let's get back to brass tacks, as they say. The blood pressure machines. He left one here at the headquarters here at BARBERTIME and the barbershop, The Biz. And me, I have hypertension, I have high blood pressure, so I've used it several times myself. But it's a conversation that happens. Not everybody tries to be honest with it. But in the barber chair, we get a lot more honesty out of people. So the doc himself has realized this himself, and he's gotten us a few more of them that we're going to take to some of our other locations. We're going to give one to my buddy out in Brockton, Marvelous Cuts, out in Dorchester, Cut to Fit. I want to make sure that he gets one. I want to make sure that we're going to give them to the ladies too. This isn't just a barbershop thing. We have a salon down in Roxbury, hair station. We want to make sure she gets one. We want to spread it out, make sure several areas get covered, and as much as we can do with our clients that they get tested. So when it comes to that, what do you suggest BARBERTIME do with these, and what are you looking to not get out of it yourself, but what are you looking to see happen?
Yeah, well, as you know, as we all know, hypertension is a big problem everywhere, white and black community.
Absolutely.
And especially in the black community, it seems to be a little bit more. Probably has to do, some of it might be genetics. I think a lot of it is diet. A big part of it is diet, unfortunately. And changing people's diet is not easy.
Not easy at all.
Weight. So since I've been working here at the clinic and also at the other clinics that I've worked at, I've seen a lot of hypertension, and I always try to get patients to really think about it a lot themselves, to educate them. I think that half of my job, or more, maybe 90% of my job, is being an educator. In Japan, the word for doctor, sensei, it's also the word for teacher. And I consider myself a teacher and try to explain how you have this disease, other diseases too, but say hypertension, you have this disease that's very serious, but you don't know you have it. You're walking around perfectly healthy, not feeling anything. Meanwhile, you have really high blood pressure sometimes, and it doesn't cause symptoms. What's bad about it, though, is you have it for a period of time, years, and it kind of wears out the heart, wears out the kidneys, wears out the blood vessels. You can get strokes, kidney disease, heart attacks, circulation problems. It just leads to a lot of consequences.
Is blood clots one of them?
That could be one of them. You get peripheral artery disease, and that's in the legs, lower legs especially.
So, had a client of mine. He has sickle cell anemia, and he recently had a recent stroke from it, but he said it was triggered from his high blood pressure.
Yeah.
And so, that was kind of close. Shout out to Sergio. I hope you're doing better out there, buddy. But it's close to me. My grandmother has had it, and she takes her meds. My family, there's a long line. My mother, she passed from cancer last year. So I take it serious, and I try to eat the best I can. I've cut out a lot of fast food, although as a barber, and you guys know as a barber, we move so continuously, sometimes we have to grab things quick to eat. And that's kind of the trap that we fall in, where our industry doesn't pay attention to enough. And between the mental health campaign that we're going to work with, and then with you with this, I want to make sure that we have a lot more of an awareness factor in our industry.
Yeah, I think that people should be taking their own blood pressure. I try to encourage that with patients. Sometimes people can't afford it. I've given away lots of these machines to patients. They used to cost $25 on Amazon. Now they're $30. It's still cheap. And it's a really good machine. It has batteries operated. It's not like we use a stethoscope with a manual blood pressure cuff. Now we're using electronic ones like these too. But it's so simple. It takes 2 minutes, and then you really start looking at your own health and seeing that you've got high blood pressure. You feel perfectly fine, and your pressure is high just when you're sitting at the breakfast table. So I encourage people to get their own machine, take it off it, and to learn about what it actually means, what the numbers mean.
Right. I'm going to go ahead, and since we're talking about all this, and I'm wanting to put myself, if I talk about it, I'm about it. So you want to hook me up?
Hook you up? I didn't put the batteries in it.
No, this one here is the one that. Oh, we have one. I have one that works.
Okay, I have batteries with me. Did we cut it for a minute?
We still have the one that you gave me previously.
I know. Yeah. Do you want to get it? Stop
the
taping for a minute.
No, we're not going to stop the taping.
I could keep talking.
2 minutes. Only 2 minutes. All right, we're going to go to break right now. Again, you're watching Under the Cape on the BARBERTIME Media Network. I'm your host, Euan Davis. I'm about to go get the one that works, and I'll be right back.
Yo, it's hip hop and barbershops. You gon' love it. Yo, it's hip hop and barbershops. Yo, keep cut. Yo, it's hip hop and barbershops. It's insane. Never go against the grain. Simple and plain. It's hip hop and barbershops. It's insane. You gon' love it. Yo, keep cut. Gon' love it. Yo, keep cut. It's insane.
How you guys doing? And welcome back to Under the Cape on the BARBERTIME Media Network. I'm your host, Euan Davis, and we've got my buddy Robert Taylor back in the building again. How you doing, Rob?
Great.
So when we left last time, what we were going to do was strap myself into this thing here, and on camera, go ahead and give an example of the ease and the purpose of why we do what we do.
Okay, I can explain this. Blood pressure basically is the pressure inside the blood vessels, the arteries. The artery, this could be like an artery, and say the heart is connected to it, and every time the heart pumps, it's called systole, the heart contracting, it pushes the blood through the body, and it increases the pressure a little bit in the arteries, okay? As the heart is dilating, the blood is flowing out to the rest of the body, and the pressure goes down a little bit. So it goes up, down, sort of like this, inside it. And the normal should be below 130/80. Okay? And high blood pressure, we consider high blood pressure anything 130/80 or above. Now, 130/80 or above, 130/80 used to be called pre-hypertension. It's been changed in the last couple of years. The committees that decide these standards decided to make 130/80 stage 1 hypertension and 140/90 stage 2 hypertension. Before, we used to consider 140/90 hypertension and 130/80 pre-hypertension. It was changed a little bit. Okay,
Well,
so we
statement here. My blood pressure is usually right at around there. It's pretty, and so the people, when you hear it, y'all don't go into a shop, please. And my wife and whoever else family out there, when y'all hear it, please don't go into a shop, because normally mine does run fairly high. And before I do, I had a question: is there a difference sometimes in the levels, normal levels per ethnicity? Or you're not supposed to take it by that? Is that because there's a myth out there with that? So that's why.
Unfortunately, it seems like there's more blacks in certain cultures that have higher blood pressure in general, but that doesn't mean. But the standard is still the same.
The standard is the same for person, and also how about height, weight?
Same for everybody.
Same thing.
Same for everybody. Children might have a little.
All right, let's do it. Here I go.
Okay, there's a pulse that's coming out of Ian's heart, going this way. The blood is coming through here. We usually take the pulse over here, but there's another pulse right here, and this is a microphone on the blood pressure machine. And we put the microphone right over where it bends, right there. Then you lay it down. Should be relaxed and everything. Feet.
He wants me to relax with a camera on me.
We just press the button. We just press the button here, and we see it. It goes up. Should we let him see what it looks like?
Yeah, sure.
Here, how about this? There is something called white coat hypertension now. I don't have a white coat on, but when people come into a doctor's office or when they're in a spot like this, unfortunately, usually blood pressure, you get a little bit nervous and the blood pressure goes up. Now, I have really good blood pressure for my age. I'm 73 and I have really good blood pressure, but when I show a patient my great blood pressure, it's always a little bit higher. So even I had this white coat hypertension. Oh, didn't work. Let's see if we can get it to work again here.
Now, mind you, I also had a piece of fried chicken this morning. Not to
I think that what would really affect it if you had like a lot of salt on it. You know?
Yeah,
And
no.
salt,
I mean, no, they do pretty good with their chicken.
salt retains water, and the water it's part of the blood is water, maybe half of it. And so if you have more fluid inside there, there's more pressure. And one of the first medicines that we give to people with hypertension is, I'm not sure why this isn't working, but
It's
we'll try it again.
We'll do it as a.
One of the first medicines that we give people with high blood pressure is a diuretic, which spits out the salt from your body through the kidneys, and it takes water along with it. So if you just take less salt, like personally myself, I don't use salt at all. I don't have hypertension. I did when I was about 52. I used to be thin all the time, like I am now, and running marathons and stuff like that. This is going to be pretty high here.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty high. I think it's because it happened several times and then the nerves kind of went up. But with me, I have like a lot of the things that I drink, because I do a lot of drinking. I try to get the things that have either low sodium or no sodium. I really go in that line of things.
Well, when I gained weight, I developed hypertension, and I was on two medications, and then when I lost the weight, now I'm no medications. I'm 10 years older. This is a little bit high. Okay.
Told you guys, go on, Kareem. Cameraman's gonna put me on blast.
The bottom number should be the top number. Okay. This I'm gonna next time when I get on, let's say 3 months from now or 6 months from now, Ian is gonna be in better shape. Yeah.
Yes, we are. But you know that also the machine like squeezed my arm several times, so I was already pulsating.
That's
so
true.
I think a little bit of that.
No, I think just being nervous. This is right in front of the whole world.
Yeah, I know. But it's good for me to test it, see it, and I mean I say the same thing for everybody else, because as a barber you hear a lot of stories of all of a sudden somebody passed away.
Exactly.
All of a sudden somebody had a heart. I hear
see it all the time.
And I know
in the clinic, it's amazing. I tell people, I say, listen, your blood pressure is not controlled, and you're gonna get a stroke, you're gonna get heart disease, and sure enough,
Yeah, I love my baby, so I want to make sure that I do.
Yeah, the first thing I would do if I was you is I would work on this.
Yes.
Okay? That's the weight.
First is the weight.
If you lose weight, your blood pressure will go down. Guarantee you. That's what happened with me. My blood pressure's fine for the last 20 years since I've been thinner, and it happens with everybody. The weight is the thing. Your heart has to work. Think about it. That your heart is working for this.
Yes.
It's pumping blood for that. Your pancreas is working for that. Your kidneys are filtering out all that.
The whole system.
Now, it's not that easy to lose weight. This is it. The main thing to lose weight, is that okay to talk about it?
Yeah, of course.
To lose weight, a person has to eat less and move more. Be more active and eat less. That's the only way you're going to lose weight. Now, as far as what to eat less, I would say 5 things you want to eat less of: sweets, potatoes, pasta, rice, and bread. Now, these happen to be the 5 things that I love the most.
Yeah, he just named all of them.
I'm a breadaholic. You know what an alcoholic is?
I'll cut that
I'm
on
a
my
breadaholic. I can't have bread. I live with my gal, and she used to buy bread all the time. And I said, "Why are you buying bread?" And she said, "I know you love it, but I'll eat it."
Yes, yeah.
So really, all these 5
So it
things.
starts at home. The missus, well, so some of us that have missus, you hear that, you gotta help.
Yeah, just don't bring it in the house.
Yeah, I know.
And then you get used to it after a while. And you know what, too? You got to get used to being hungry.
Yeah, that's too.
Because people, they say, but I'm hungry.
Yeah, as soon as you feel that you want, it's like
you're hungry.
instantaneous.
I'll go into the physiology next time about how hunger is. And I'm hungry now, and I just ate lunch a half hour ago. It wasn't a big lunch, but still, I'm already hungry.
Yeah, see, now I'm a very honest person. I am a marijuana smoker, so
Get the munchies.
It's part of the daily necessity to feed it. But at the same time, me personally, I don't eat all day. I eat the 3 meals in a sense, and then in between I don't eat as much. And I have cut down tremendously on my potatoes, my pasta, and my bread, but not so much the bread because I eat sandwiches, and I do eat the sandwiches to eat less sometimes, like homemade sandwiches. Like I do a lot of homemade sandwiches, so I get caught up in there. But I've cut down on a lot of those things, and I can feel it. But then sometimes I do also feel the blood is boiling.
Do you weigh yourself?
Not that often.
That's another thing. Besides getting a machine, believe it or not, these machines really cheap for saving your life. $25-$30 for a good machine. I don't get any money from pushing this company, but I know they're cheap. They're inexpensive and they're very reliable. I use this in my office all the time. I have one of them at home. I have one of them in my car. I think you can get it on Amazon for $30. But the other thing you need to get is a scale. Get a scale and don't weigh yourself every day. Once a week is plenty. Once a week, and don't think about losing 30 pounds. Try to get to the next milestone. If you weigh 217, try to get to 215, and then that's a milestone. And then next 210. Don't think about it that you have to weigh 170.
All right. Now, since we have just a couple more minutes left in the show, some people may want to get in touch with you. Do you have Facebook, Instagram? Do you do any of those things?
I'm on them. To tell you the truth, I don't go on. Robert Taylor, MD, on Facebook. I think I still have that. And BobTaylorMD.com is my website. And if anybody ever wants to call me, look up my name, Robert Taylor, Dr. Robert Taylor, Brookline, and you can get my telephone number. I'm the only doctor in the world. If you call me, I'll answer my phone.
Yep, and then also you guys can get in touch with us here at Barber Time, because I will be keeping a close tab on them, because we want to, like you said, we're not promoting these machines per se, but we know these machines are he wants to distribute some of those, so some of the local shops, you guys will be seeing them yourselves. Any last words for the people?
No, just keep working on your health.
I am Doc, I promise you, and I know Dr. Severin over at Common Square. I hope you don't see this tape. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. This is the BARBERTIME Media Network. I'm Euan Davis. This is Robert Taylor. Thanks for coming. And you were just on Under the Cape. So we're on this mission of trying to find out from the barbershop and the salon owners about solicitors. So how do you feel about the solicitors coming into your shop?
Get something out of it is even better.
Have you ever gotten anything out of the solicitors that come in?
I can't say that I've gotten anything that I can.
Nothing of value whatsoever?
Nothing of value.
When I met Euan, I knew he was going to be a good connection in this whole brotherhood of barbers, because he has a vision that not a lot of barbers has, and with BARBERTIME. And the way he approaches things is actually a little unique with the monitor, especially, and how he wants to get the whole advertisement thing and put it all there, grab all the clutteredness, all the flyers, the poster that goes in everyone's barbershop, and he kinds of generated in there, and not just keeping it in one shop but multiplying it so the ad becomes powerful. I'm grateful for having it here, and I want to thank Euan and the rest of the crew, for doing a good job and continue.
So you get a lot of solicitation from people coming in, just throwing stuff around your store?
Now they got to put in the monitor, so it's easier, it's cleaner, and I think it's a good idea.
And barber time all the time.